Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? Yes, thank you. Thank you for responding. All right, guys. All right. Morning, everybody. This is the lab course briefing for Lab 1 and Lab 3. My name is Dr. Kamarul. All right. I am basically the person in charge for the laboratory courses in the faculty. All right. For this time around, we will be offering Lab 1 and Lab 3, basically. All right. So I understand some of you are maybe requesting for Lab 2 to be open, but I heard unfortunately it was not offered during this semester. Okay, so we are basically left with Lab 3 and Lab 1. All right. So this is basically the running capacity of basically I am expecting a little close to I would say 800 students, but I think this time around I only see we are not even get to half of the things, only 280 including myself. So it's all right. We have I have this session recorded basically, and we'll proceed as planned. All right. So we have lab 1 SEMM 2921, and together with us we have SEMM 3941, which is lab 3. All right. So in lab 1, basically we have 6 lab. We have solid, we have fluid, we have thermal, we have material, we have machine lab, and also electric lab. Okay. And of course, this lab 1 this semester is basically offered to SEMM students, SEMI, SEMP, SEMO. All right. Last semester it was offered to SEMV, SEMB, SEMT students. All right. So if you are SEMV, SEMB, SEMT students, you are not supposed to be here basically, unless for any special cases, maybe you are. All right. And for lab 3, 3941, basically students basically have to take 5 experiments, which are instrumentation, vibration control, and we have to take 1 experiment for module 1 and 1 experiment for module 2. So altogether, 1 student, you have to submit 5 reports for lab 3, right? For lab 1 student, you have to submit 12 reports, because you have 6 lab. For each lab, you have 2 experiments. All right. So by the end of the semester, you should be able to see that you went through 6 lab. For each lab, you have 2 experiments, and altogether you should be submitting 12 experiments by the end of the semester. All right. Again, lab 1, you have 12 experiments in total. Lab 3, you have 5 experiments in total. All right. So for lab 3 students, maybe you have some idea of how the lab basically working. And for lab 1 student, maybe this is your first time taking the lab. This basically map shows the location of the lab. If you are here in the E07, okay, in which you have the cafe and the riverside cafe, you have E07 here. So lab fluid and electric is basically the same block, E07, and you have control instrumentation machine in E05. You have solid lab in E04, You have material lab in E04. You have thermal lab in E06. You have manufacturing lab in E01, and you have industry and metrology lab in C25, if I'm not mistaken. All right. So this is basically where the labs are, and this is where you have to go for the lab because this is a physical lab. Previously, we had online lab during during COVID-19, the PKP, but it was online. But this time around, no, the COVID is no longer an issue. Our lab is now physical, so you have to be present in the lab during the experiments. All right. So I'll be sharing this slide with you afterwards. Basically, if you don't know where the lab is, you can always refer to this page, basically. All right. So the overall process of the labs, for lab 3 students, maybe you are aware of this thing. Okay, but for lab 1 student, are you talking to me? Or else if you can please mute your microphone. Thank you. Okay. All right. So this is a couple of steps explaining the whole process of the labs. The first one is basically gathering all students in the Telegram group. For now, I have, I would say, one group for Lab 3 students and one group for Lab 1 students. So I have 2 Telegram group with me, with all the students. There is no other WhatsApp group or Telegram group officially open for student and myself and lecturers, unless if you meet the lecturer later on along the semester during the lab session. If the lecturer asks you guys, your group, to have a WhatsApp group with him or her, you can basically do that. That's basically is unofficial group between your group and your lecturer. All right. As for an official group, basically I just have 2. One group, one Telegram group for Lab 1 and one Telegram group for Lab 3, and there is no other group other than that. All right, and number 2, during the lab session, of course, you have to refer to your schedule, to your timetable, looking at when and where and the location of the lab. So you have to go to the lab, be ready. Once you get to the lab, basically the lecturer will give you the briefing. Okay, number 2. All right, and of course, when you go to the lab, you have to record your attendance. All right. So the attendance basically is on paper in the lab. Find your names. The assistant engineer will help you in putting your attendance. Okay, you have to find your name and put your signature there. And then number 4, stay in the group, perform the experiment. Number 5, okay, student prepare the report and submit to the web app. All right, number 6, the lecturer basically view and download the student's report. And then, of course, number 7, basically the lecturer will basically submit the marks to me, and I will basically put into the system. All right, so that's basically briefly how the process, the overall process of the lab. So, okay, what else? What are the issues here? Okay. So the lab schedule basically for lab 1. Okay, for each lab, you will be meeting your lecturer for 2 weeks for each lab. Okay, so for these 2 weeks, basically you will do 2 experiments for lab 1. Okay, first experiment maybe you will do it during the first week, and the second experiment we will be doing it during the second week. All right. So for one lab, 2 weeks, 2 experiments. Okay, so altogether you have 6 labs, as I mentioned. So it's going to be a 12 weeks job, basically. All right. So for each student, basically, you have to submit 12 report for 12 experiments, in which 11 report has to be in a form of short report, and 1 report should be in a form of formal report format. Who's talking? Okay, so that's for lab 1. for lab 3, basically you have 4 weeks time per lab. Okay, so for each student, basically you have 5 experiments. 3 is for the core lab, and 2 is for the module lab. Guys, can you please mute your microphone? How do I get there? Basically, I can okay, right. Sekejap siapa yang all right, okay, it's coming back. Sekejap Who is guys, can we get them to mute the microphone? I cannot get everybody to mute basically.
Doctor, her name is Aina Shahira.
Yes, Aina. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's working now. Thank you very much. All right, so that's for lab 1. Okay, 2 weeks. For lab 3, we have 4 weeks per lab, in which for each lab you will be taking 4 weeks for five experiments in total. So for the first 4 weeks, basically you will go through 3 experiments as a core lab. The second 4 weeks you have to do the first module. The third 4 weeks you're gonna work with the second module. So altogether 4 times 3, basically you have 12 weeks, the same as lab 1. Okay. Again, I repeat, for the first 4 weeks, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, okay, according to the timetable and group schedule, okay, the student will go through 3 experiment for core lab. The second 4 weeks, the second module. The third 4 weeks, the second module. Okay, the first and the second module. All right. It's all basically you can see in the schedule. I will be sharing the lab schedule for you guys. You can find your name divided into groups basically. Okay, so this is basically how the labs are basically conducted. All right, and this is the schedule. All right, this is the schedule of the lab. I haven't yet shared any with you. Okay, guys, hold on a second. Let me share the lab schedule dekat you punya Telegram group sekejap so that everybody can have a look yourself. Okay, sekejap So I have shared the timetable and the grouping information for lab 1 and lab 3 is basically coming in. Okay, guys, I think you can have a look to the file that I have shared in the Telegram group, and you will see you can download the PDF file and view your schedule, your timetable, as well as the grouping information. All right, so for lab 1, basically, as I mentioned, we have if you can open the file just now I've shared. This is basically how you read the timetable. You have number 1 here, you have the lecturers on this side. Okay, you have here lecturers by number, this number basically correspond to the lab. Okay, for example, here I have Dr. Muhammad Roslan, number 1 here. So this the same number 1 basically refer to the lab number 1, which is solid. So Dr. Muhammad Roslan will be teaching the solid for the solid lab. And number 2 here we have Dr. Muhammad Hasbullah Fazila, and of course he will be taking care of the fluid lab. So this is how you find your lab, and this is how you find which lecturer is basically working with you. All right, and then number 3 we have grouping information. 1A to A you have more or less 10 students. 1B to B you have different 10 students. For if you belong to group 1A to A, basically okay, if you belong to the group 1A to A, okay, this is a group for one section, maybe section 1 and section 2 if I'm not mistaken. So for this section, okay, this is your meeting date. This is the first week, this is the second week, this is the day and the time of your lab. So this is on Monday from 8 to 10. This is where you're supposed to be in the lab doing the experiments. Which date? 27th of March and 3rd of April. So you will basically spend 2 weeks in one lab. Okay, for example, group 1A to A, you'll be spending 2 weeks. Okay, 27th of March and 3rd of April from 8 to 1 on Monday with solid lab, for example, the first 2 weeks. The second 2 weeks, you will have to go there, you will have to meet electrical lecturer. Electrical lecturer is number 6, Nur Asma Alia Nur Azlan, basically. So this is basically how you observe your movement from one lab to another, from one lecturer to another. And this time around, your meeting should be between these 2 dates. All right. This is the first meeting, 10th of April, and the second meeting is 17th of April, and so on. So for that, basically, you will be 1A to A will move to the next lab, which is machine, and then the next lab, which is material, and next until you finish all 6 labs. So basically, this is how you are moving from one lab to another, and for each lab, you will have different dates as stated up there, and this is where you find the lab and the lecturer for each lab. All right. And for this case, basically, for each section, if you view the schedule I have given just now, you'll be seeing one date I highlighted with purple color. Okay, so this is what I meant just now by one formal report. So if you count the meeting, you will have 12 meetings altogether, in which you have to produce 12 reports. Okay, in which 11 of the reports are should be written in the format of short report, and one report, okay, should be produced using the format of long report or formal report. Okay, when to do it, basically during the meeting, report for the meeting, which I highlighted purple color on the date, if you refer to the schedule. So each section you will see the same thing. You will have purple color highlighted date. So this is where you're supposed to prepare experimental report using the formal report format. I hope that is pretty clear. Okay, because formal report, basically you will have if you take 100% marks, basically each short report will give you the marks around 6 or 7 per reports, and formal report, they have more weightage, around 15. So if you miss your final report, if you miss your formal report, you might be going down by 2 or 3 grades. Okay? If you miss one short report, you might be losing 1 grade. because one report should be giving you 6 to 7 marks or something like that, full mark. All right. So that's the thing. For lab 3, basically, this is more or less the schedule. Okay, so you can see on your left side here we have the dates for the meeting: week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. Okay, from week 2 to week 5. All right, this is 4 weeks date. This is 4 weeks meeting. So you can find there are 3 groups divided basically. Okay, of course you can find your name in each of this group. So for example, number 1, Azizul Hakim bin Aziz, basically for the first 4 weeks, you will be meeting with Dr. Safwati in the control, vibration, and instrument lab. Okay, so that for that 4 weeks, you will be doing 3 experiments. Because this is core lab, we have 3 experiment: control, vibration, and instruments. All right, with Dr. Safwati for the whole group lah. All right, and then this is group A. Okay, so for example here, Muhammad Taufik, you'll be in group B, B1. This is your group. So you'll be meeting Dr. Ardian Shah for module lab. Module lab meaning that 1 experiment. Okay, and of course Muhammad Farid, I take example here, and his group member, you'll be meeting Tuan Nazdah. Okay, in the first 4 weeks. This is the dates of the meeting. So groups, students are divided into different groups. So you'll be meeting different lecturer. Okay, for module for the core lab here, basically you can find the lab in E05, the control instrument vibration lab. Okay, but for module, basically you have to be in contact with the lecturer. The lecturer will be basically arranging the venue and all that with you guys. Okay, so students students who are scheduled to be in the I would say in the module punya lab, you are supposed to meet the lecturer. Okay, you can ask from me the phone number and try to make contact with the lecturer. Maybe set up your own meeting, maybe set up your own WhatsApp group or what. So you are going to spend 4 weeks with that lecturer, and you're going to finish some experiments decided by the lecturer. So this is module 1 and module 2 nature of experiments. They are basically decided by the lecturer all the way from week 1 to week 4. All right. Except for lab core lab control instrument and vibrations, basically we set 3 lab sheet, 3 experiments, and for these 4 weeks you just have to finish 3 experiments there. Okay, so that is for the first 4 weeks. The second 4 weeks, basically you will see the group is now start to change. A now going here, C is going here. Basically for the next 4 weeks, according to these dates, you are start to change the lab. All right, meaning that so each student, basically you will be doing 3 experiments here, 1 experiment here, and 1 experiment here, basically. All right, so the next 4 weeks also you will start to change the experiment, and of course changing the lecturer. So that's basically how the labs are done. All right, so for this lab 3, all right, it's a 4-week meetings basically. So these are basically the guide and how these 4 weeks should be spent. All right, so with week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, the lab session, basically during the first meeting your lecturer will be briefing you on the problem, because this is open-ended lab. This is problem-based learning lab. The lecturer will be just giving you the problem to be solved, the needs and all that. The students, the lab is very much designed in such a way that students, you have to define what theory you need to find or to use in order to solve the problems, what are the tools that you need to use or the equipment that you need to use in order to solve the problem for the experiment, which lab, you really have to find those things, what are the procedures you need to follow in order to achieve the result, the objective, and so on. So that is basically how the experiments are very much designed. You will not be given a detailed one, step-by-step guide of how to do the experiment, of how to achieve the result. No, Lab 3 is designed in such a way that the lecturer will just give you the problem, maybe the objective, and the scope, something like that. And the rest of the thing, you have to sit in group and you have to discuss and discuss yourself. The lecturer will be, of course, there to guide you, to help you achieving, your objective in the experiment. So this is a kind of open-ended lab, basically. The lecturer may not be giving you the steps, the detail, the equipments, the theory, the formula, and of course, sometimes you need to find your own equipment, maybe in FKM and maybe in some other faculty for that. All right, depending on the situation. And of course, the lecturers are always there to help you. He should be able to help you in whatever topics or problem he has given. All right, so that's the guide. Okay, you can basically read through this slide later. Okay, so okay, so just pay attention to this thing. Okay, if you need to contact the lab technician or lab assistant, you can basically go to this link. I think I have provided the handphone, the handphone number, the mobile number for each of the lab staff, for each lab, basically, so you can communicate, you can contact them through this link. Okay. Of course, this is a lecturer's role and student's role. Of course, student's role number one, you have to participate in the experiment briefing. Okay, so briefing you cannot hadir, you cannot be gone, you cannot be absent during the briefing. Briefing is mandatory. If you when you attend the lab briefing, okay, you have to sign an attendance form. If you didn't attend the lab briefing, basically 5 marks will be deducted from your report. All right, this is the rule. Number two, you can download and review the rubrics, the lab sheet, the experimental video from the web. Okay, I'll be sharing you the web resources in a few minutes. Number three, perform the experiment, record the attendance also during the experiment. Okay, you have to record another attendance. The attendance for briefing is different from attendance for experiment, so you have to record for both, so that we basically we should be able to trace whether you come for the briefing or you come for the you come for just the experiments, basically. And then number four, you prepare the lab report and submit to the web app system. Okay. Okay, this is the online lab resources in which you can find the lab sheets. You can find the report rubrics, in which you can find the experimental videos that we have recorded during the COVID-19. Basically, it's all there. This is the link. Okay, and when you reach to the page, you will see lab 1, lab 2, and lab 3. If you are a lab 1 student, you can click at the lab 1 punya icon. If you are lab 3, you can basically go there. And the whole system is basically, we have password to protect it. So these are the password. For lab 1, the password is lab1@fkm2301. For lab 2, if you click a lab 2, the password is lab@fkm2302. And if you are clicking the lab 3, your password is lab@fkm2303. You click submit, you'll be coming down to this page. All right, for each lab, you will be having this short report rubrics and as well as formal report rubrics. So for lab 1, basically you have to use this rubric as the cover for your reports, 11 reports in total. And one report, formal report, should be using this rubric as the cover. Okay, if you scroll down, you will see labs and the experiments. You can download the lab sheet, and you can download the video of the experiment before even you come to the lab. So this thing is all available online. You can download and you can perform a self-study. So for lab 1 student, basically you will find tables, you will find a lot of things that you have to basically write in the lab sheet. Basically, so I strongly recommend that you print the lab sheet before you come to the lab. Okay, so that during the experiment, you will be filling up tables during the data collection and all that. So you will be working in group, so at least you will have one lab sheet printed per group before you come to the lab, all right? Because in previous cases, yes, of course, this thing is basically in the soft copy. You can come to the lab with a laptop and with, I would say, with your tab and all that. I know you can fill out the things in the tab, but we receive comment from our lecturers. They prefer you print the lab sheet and write down the numbers using pen or pencil or something like that, because the lecturer will be coming back to you to discuss with what your findings and all that. And we have trouble in the past where students record the data into the tab or the iPad, and when they want to refer back to the thing, the data is missing, something like that. So we have that issue. So I strongly recommend that you print the lab sheet, hard copy, and bring them to the lab for data collection. At least one group, you have one copy of those things. All right. So submission, once you have your report finished, you can submit your report through this link. This is the same link for lab 1 and lab 3. Okay. So number 1 here says one report you have to submit. Sorry, you have, for example, you have 2 report for each lab. Okay. You have to submit separately. You cannot submit them in one file, for example. Okay, so the system only accept PDF file format. Okay, Paris. All right. Oh my God. Faris, can you mute your microphone? Sekejap guys. Okay, so this is basically the submission link. So you have to submit your reports separately, one experiment per submission. Even though you have 2 reports with you, do not combine 2 reports in one file and submit them together. Please do not do that, because the system will be tracing your submission according to experiments. So if you combine the 2 experiment in one report, the system will be seeing that you are submitting only one report. Okay, so number 2 here, please use the rubrics which you can download through the web as the report cover. Okay, and don't worry about the report file name. The system will rename your file after it is submitted. Okay, and on this side you'll be seeing the due date for the submission. For the short report, basically, if the experiment conducted in the morning, then you have to submit the report in the same day. If the experiment were conducted in the afternoon, you have next day until 12 p.m. Okay, not 12 midnight, but 12 in midday. Okay, so this is for short report. Okay, if the experiment, again I repeat, if the experiments were in the morning, so you have to submit the same day before 12 midnight. okay, the same day. So if your experiment is in the afternoon, you have your due date is tomorrow, 12 midday, okay, 12 noon, all right. So for formal reports, basically 3 days, okay, after the experiment, 12 midnight, all right. So that is basically the due date for submission due date for each report, for short report and formal report. And I have to mention here overdue submission because you can submit after the due date, but only for like 1 or 2 days. It's still accepted, and some marks will be deducted because of late submission. But do not submit at the end of the semester because I've seen students they don't submit the report after the lab session, or maybe after a few days of the lab session. They submit the report at the end of the semester for all the lab, for example. So I know you said to me you submitted the reports, but I couldn't accept that because it's way too late. All right, the late submission meaning that only 2 or 3 days after the due dates. All right, not the end of the semester. If you have problem with the submission, if you are sick, you cannot attend the lab session or briefing, please notify your lecturer. Okay, please inform the lecturer that you couldn't make it for the briefing, you couldn't make it for the experiment, or you have to submit the report late because you are maybe traveling, maybe you are sick and all that. Please inform the lecturer with the evidence. Okay, the lecturer will be able to accept your report after that. All right, please do that. Okay, do not you attend the briefing, maybe you do the experiment, but you didn't submit the report. By the end of the semester, when I put a reminder, then you start submitting the report again. I'm sorry, in that case, I couldn't accept your report because it's way too late. Even though you go to the briefing, you perform the experiment. If you didn't submit the report on time or a couple of days after the experiment, after the due date, okay, if you don't do that, I couldn't accept your report because you are basically playing around with the rules. Every students have to do this, to respect these rules, and I expect everybody to do the same, basically. Okay, so that is submission link. Even if you have problem submitting through the WhatsApp, through the web app, please contact me. Okay, I will basically guide you through. Okay, and of course, after each submission, basically you can check whether your report is accepted by the system or not. For Lab 3 students, I think you know what happened. But for Lab 1 student, I have to tell you, after each submission, okay, through these links that you see just now in this slide, when you successfully submit, click the submit button, okay, you will receive an email, confirmation email to the email given to note that the submission has been accepted or successful. And of course, we have some other links for you. I'll be sharing the links in a few minutes, in which you can put your information there and you can see the list of reports which are successfully accepted by the system. Okay, so this is basically, if you click to the link, you will see this kind of view, and you have to make proper selection. You have to make proper selection. First, you have to enter the email. You have to select the lab course, lab 1, lab 2, or lab 3. After you make the selection of the lab course, you have to basically select which lab you are going to. You have options of, if for lab 1, you have lab fluid, solid, thermo, and so on. For lab 3, you have the core lab or some module. You have to select your section, you have to select your lab experiment, you have to select the lecturer, and you have to select your name, you have to select your group, okay? And before clicking the submit button, you have to make sure that all the information are carefully and correctly selected, okay? If you left any of this information unselected or maybe selected to the default, for example, here for the lab experiment number 5, you leave this thing as lab experiment when you submit when you click submit button. Basically what happened is that with this lab experiment as the information that you submitted, your report will be going to some strange folder and not to your lecturer. Okay, you have to select the correct information for all this field in order, okay, for the report to reach your lecturer correctly. If you select wrong information, wrong student name, wrong lecturer, wrong experiment, wrong section, wrong lab, even wrong course code, your report will not be reaching your lecturer, basically. So you have to make sure that all the things are correct, then only you submit. Okay. And of course, I put some notes here. Send a report with the wrong information. Basically, your report will be gone somewhere in which we have to do a lot of searching to be able to find your report. Okay, one way to check is because after each submission, you will receive an email, basically, and then you can check whether the information contained in the email is correct or not, basically. If you still see section is pointing to this word section number, if the lecturer is information in the email saying that your lecturer is select lecturer, meaning that your submission basically is not reaching to the right person. Okay, that's is some precaution that you have to take during the submission. Even if you during and to be able to be successfully perform the submission, you have to make sure that you have a good internet connection. I've seen students having trouble submitting because the internet connection is not good. After you click the button submit, you can see the progress bar keep on moving without ending. So that is basically because of your internet. If you see that, basically try to disconnect or reconnect, or try to use a better internet. And of course, you can always check whether the submitted report is basically received or not by the system through the student web app. Okay, this is the student web. You can use this link basically to check whether the system has received your report or not. So for students, you have two web apps. The first one is for the report submission. The second one is for the report checking, in which once you come to this link, you will see this view. Just put in your matrix number. You have to select your correct course code and find search. And basically, you will see this thing, all right? So for example, this is for student A21 EM0282, okay? So you can see that the students have submitted 2 experiments for fluid lab, 3 experiments for fluid lab, 3 experiments for solid, basically. So of course, the system will be basically display everything that you submitted. In this case, now the students is basically submitting 3 experiments, 3 same experiments, basically. And of course, this is one of the problem that I have mentioned. During the submission, you didn't select the experiment. You leave it as select experiment. The system will taking note based on your selection. So your report basically ending up somewhere not to the right folder for the lecturer to check. So this is the risk of your report not being graded. There is a risk there, basically. So we want to minimize that risk to make sure that your report is well received by the lecturer and well graded by the lecturer. In this case, basically for each lab, you're supposed to only have 2 experiments, okay? And of course, this is the same experiment. All 3 submissions, same experiment. You have to make sure that for each lab, you have 2 experiments with a different title. For example, you can log into the app just now, and you can check this. For lab 1, for example, you're supposed to have 6 labs, in which for each lab you have 2 different experiments with different topics, and 6 lab times 2 experiment. Altogether, you should be seeing 12 list of experiments, when you use this web app to view your submission, basically. All right. So short report and formal report again. For lab 1, short report for all labs except for the lab date marked purple should be using formal report. For lab 3, student prepare short report for makmal wajib ataupun core lab. Okay, and student must prepare formal report for another 2 modules. So short report for control vibration instrument, formal report for module 1 and module 2. All right, so this is a little bit of FAQ. What happened if the student did not attend the briefing? Basically, the lecturers are entitled to deduct 5 marks. What happened if the student did not attend the experiment session? Your submission will not be graded by the lecturer. Okay, you have to attend the briefing. Okay, if you didn't attend briefing, your report, your lecturer will be deduct 5 marks from your report. If you didn't attend the experiment session, your submission will not be counted. If you have problem in that, you should be communicating with your lecturer. You have to state why you cannot attend the experiment, give the medical certificate and any other things to the lecturer. If the lecturer accept your reason, then your submission will be counted, it will be graded. Okay, reports, handwritten or produced using computer application, Word, Excel or anything. Basically, the faculty recommend handwritten, okay, unless otherwise requested by the lecturer. Okay, by default, the report should be handwritten. Okay, by default, if your lecturer didn't say anything, then your report should be written, should be handwritten. If the lecturer make a request for my lab, for my section, for this group, I need the report to be in a computer type or format lah, for example. Okay, so you can always ask the lecturer for each what they call that lab, whether he wants the report handwritten or type, or in some lecturers they require the report to be 100% handwritten, including the graph, the table, and all that. Some lecturers they say you can write the report handwritten, but I want the table and the graph in Excel. And some lecturers say that I want everything to be type in Microsoft Word, and all the table and graph should be in Excel form or something like that. So you have to really ask this to the lecturer. If the lecturer didn't say anything, this is the default settings. The late submission. So this during the past semesters, I see many issues of why students didn't get good marks, of why students fail, and basically why the reports are not graded. So you have to pay attention to this two issues. The first one is late submission. Late submission consider late couple of days, 1 or 2 days after the due dates. I repeat again, if you have problems submitting on time or a couple of days after the due date, please contact the lecturer, provide reason, provide evidence. If the lecturer accept, then your report will be graded. If the lecturer didn't accept, then you have basically 0 marks. All right. Number 2 here is the mistake during the report submission. Again, as I mentioned, if you supply wrong information, your report is ending up somewhere else, not to the right lecturer. And during the grading process, your lecturer will not be seeing your report, and thus your report will not be graded, and you won't be receiving marks for that report, even though you said you submitted. But when you submit the wrong information, it ends up somewhere else. Basically, that's the problem. So student basically, the same thing happened before this web app was introduced, in which the student have to submit your physical report to the lab. There are also cases students submit report to the wrong lab, basically, and students also lose mark for that. So please pay attention to this, because every time you submit your report, you receive the confirmation email. You can check the information in that confirmation email, whether the lecturer name, the section, the experiment, the lab information is correct or not correct. If you find it not correct, please perform the resubmission again. Or you can also check your submitted report through the web app link just now I have mentioned. Yeah, this is the case, you know, where the reports basically ending up somewhere else. I can still find these reports, but this is basically troublesome for me and for the lecturer, because I'm handling more than 10,000 reports. I cannot be working, you know, line by line, checking all the reports and all that. You have to take the first step precaution, submit correctly using the right information. For example, in this case, we have the lab correctly selected, but the experiment is not selected by the students. And for each submission, I have to tell you, your report will be sent and sorted according to the lecturers, the lab, the section, the group, and all that. If one information supplied is wrong, your report will end up, you know, in a different folder or something. And this is also the case where the student performed the submission. They didn't select the lab, so even didn't select the lecturer. There is no experiment. So for this report, I have to tell you, it's going to be very difficult for me to find this report. So please avoid doing this. You'll make my job easier. You'll make your lecturer's job easier. And for this, you should be able to get your mark easily. All right. Yes, this is one of the example of good listing. So you have for example 2 experiments for each lab. Okay, and you have different experiment. Okay, and hopefully the report is submitted on time. Okay, and for lab 1 and lab 2, supposedly you should be able to see 12 reports submitted. This is perfect, basically. All right. You have 6 lab, you have 12 experiments, and you have total 12 experiments, hopefully on time. So if this is the case for your submission, you should be able to get good marks. But also you have to take note. Some lecturers, their style of grading, you know, is different from other lecturers. Some lecturers, their average mark for the student is 90. Some lecturers, their average of marks given to the student is 70, and some lecturers, their average marks given to the students are 60. So I have seen this pattern, and so you should be able to understand why your mark is high or why your mark is slightly low compared to your friends. All right, because you have 6 lecturers grading your report, so each lecturer, they have different kind of judgment or something like that. All right. So that's very much it for my briefing, guys. If you have question, you can ask now. You can speak up, or you can basically type. Yes. Hold on, guys. Slowly. Let me settle. So I have here Pua Kipeng. I cannot find the schedule for lab 3 for section 50 and 50 and 51. Okay, guys. For the lab, for the schedule, basically, there are still changes there, because students are coming in and out. Students are still performing the insert delete. Students are still rearranging schedule because of clash and all that. So you will see the schedule, the names, the grouping will not be finalized until the second or third week. All right. If you have problem like your name is not there, your section is wrong, your schedule is wrong, please inform me. I'll make the correction from there. Okay. Pua Kipeng, I will be basically check again the schedule, because some of the section, there are no students there and it has to be closed. And the students, maybe for certain sections, only 1 or 2 students there. So the student has to be moved to other section. So we'll see this movement for this couple of weeks. All right, Pua Kipeng. Then I have Abrar. I'm not in the section A. Okay, I will be basically updating the name list and the grouping again. Khalid Zakaria, how do I know my group is A, B, or C? You have to find your name in the list. Khalid, if you couldn't find your name, you have to text me, inform me. I will basically change the things again. All right, Muhammad Firdaus, my name is not in the list. I registered. Okay, Muhammad Firdaus, you have to text me. Then I will put in your name myself, basically. All right. Because as I mentioned, the information in the AIMS web are still changing because students are still performing the delayed registering and all that. So I'll be updating the name from time to time, basically. All right. Kai Sheng, recording, yes, this session is recording. I'll be sharing it later to you guys in the Telegram group. The dress code, you have to basically follow the general UTM dress code, basically. Of course, for the lab, sekejap basically for the lab, I forgot the things number 3 here. They say proper attire, suitable PPE. Okay, for each lab sheet, basically, if you go to the web, to the online web resources, after you put in the password, you select your lab, put in the password, you go to the lab, you find the lab sheet, you download the lab sheet. The first page of the lab sheet, you will find the PPE boxes, and the boxes should be telling you which PPE you need for each lab. In some lab, you need the lab coat. In some lab, you need the safety shoe. In some lab, you need the goggle or something like that. In some other lab, you don't need any PPE at all. But the general, I would say UTM dress code is basically applied. And please pay attention, guys. You know, I have received report from the lab staff or from the lecturer saying that students, you know, for the male student, the hair is very long. Some of you coming to the lab using flippers and all that. Some of you coming to the lab with your hair color blue, some red, some white, and all that. So I don't know how that goes with the dress code, but I have received basically complaints from the lab staff and students about this issue. So I would very much recommend and requested you guys to please adhere to the dress code recommended by the university. Patricia, my name is session 20. I have amendment. Okay, I will update the name again. Patricia, Puah Kipeng, welcome. Akramul Hazim, lab attire, t-shirt. There is no specific uniform. You can basically put on your collar, shirt and all that, please. Yeah. Okay, jeans is allowed. No problem. Okay, just you have to be understand one thing. In the lab, there are safety things. There are hazards around. You have to be properly dressed. Sometimes not just to look good in the lab, for example, because there are hazards in the lab. If you wear skirts, if you wear things that are attracted to the wind or to the pump or to the rotating objects, sometimes the hair of the students, you have to tie up your hair, for example, because you may be working with rotating objects. If your hair is waving around according to the wind blowing and all that, so you might be risking your hair being attracted to these rotating things, and of course accident happens. And of course try to make sure that your dress are all tightened up to your body so that you can get any of your shirt or skirts, you know, stuck into the machines or something like that. Okay, Justin Go, applying for the course amendment in the section. Okay, again, the list, the name list was updated 19th of March. I will update it again soon. All right. But if you now registered in the new, what they call that, a new section, and your name is not there yet, you have to inform me. I will basically update the grouping names and share with you and update with you which group you're supposed to be in. All right. And then Iqbal Rozaha about changing section. Dr. Group need to be a referral lab assistant. Our name is not in the new class. For changing section, I think you need to get my signature. I think you need to go to the academic office and submit your application. And for that, I need to reassign your name in the new section, in the new group. Basically, that's basically what I have to do. And of course, for Lab 1, you can be in any section because Lab 1, they treat all students the same. You are SEMI, SEMO, SEM, BVT, whatever, you are basically equal, okay? Except for Lab 3, you have to be in the correct section according to your program. The reason why, because we have module lab. Module lab is basically some kind of research or problem-based learning lab, which is tailored towards your program. If you are SEMI students, your module will be about industry. Your module will be about quality engineering, maybe. Your module is about metrology, for example. So we cannot have students from aero taking industry experiments. So we can afford to do that. That's why for Lab 3, you have to stay in your section. In the case that the section is full or what, you have to tell me, you have to come back to me, all right? Caleb, section 9 empty now. For section 9 is empty. Yes, I will have to check again the latest schedule, Caleb, all right? Do we have to attend today's session? You mean Lua Wei Lun? You mean the briefing session? The briefing session is not mandatory. Basically, it's some kind of additional thing we provide to you so that you didn't get lost during the lab session and all that, so that you know what to do. But I know not all students attend this lab session, and of course, every semester, the annual semester, I get students who didn't know what to do, basically. A student come back to me, sir, I don't know what to do, the end of the semester. So it will be very helpful if you attend this briefing, basically, so you know what to do today, tomorrow, next week, or for each lab session. All right. It's not mandatory, but this is additional thing that we provide to help you guys. All right. Is it compulsory to buy safety shoe? You have to again check the each lab, okay, in which you can refer to the PPE statement in the lab sheet. If the lab take safety shoe, then you have to have a safety shoe. Okay, you can buy, you can rent, you can borrow from a friend, but the moment you want to enter the lab, you need the safety shoe. If the lab staff saw you without safety shoe, the lab staff will expel you out from the laboratory. The lab staff are asked to do that. Okay, do not blame them. Basically, I asked them to do that because of safety things. Because, of course, we want to prevent accident. In the case the accident happen, we will basically in the low end of the risk, basically. All right. To buy, to rent, or to borrow is up to you guys. But not all labs require safety shoe, but I am very sure certain lab require safety shoe. So for a mechanical student, I think you should have one, because not only for lab 1 or lab 2, maybe during your FYP, maybe during your internship, you need to use the safety shoe. Shakina Hapawi, the report is done by group. The report is individual. Okay. How about the allocated mark? The mark is basically written on the rubrics of the covering page of each report. The rubrics, the marks are very much there. Again, I repeat, for lab 1, one experiment short report is around 6 to 7 marks. For the formal report, is 15 marks. Okay. For the lab 3, if I'm not mistaken, module 1 is 30 marks, module 2 30 marks, and 3 experiment for vibration control instrument, all contributed to 40 marks, basically, something like that. So lab 1, please do not miss the formal report. If you miss the formal report, you lose 3 grades, basically. It's around 15 marks. So 3 grade transition there. For lab 3, please do not, please do not miss the module. If you miss the module, one module, you will get B minus and below. If you miss 2, then you know what happened. You barely pass. Okay, so you need all of them together. Okay, just Justin Go, Wei Ming, section is changing. Should we go to the new section? Okay, if you register new section, okay, you have to tell me and I will basically reassign you to a new group. So all students who are changing section, okay, you have to tell me you are changing section. I will give you the new group, basically. So you have to help me doing that. Hazim, Hakim, I changed my section. Okay, the same case, Hazim. PPE, I think I have answered this. PPE, again, PPE is a personal protective equipment. So this is personal. Okay, we may have certain things in the lab, but something not too personal we can share. But if this thing is too personal, like shoe and all that, or goggle or maybe some other things which are personal, I don't recommend you take it from the lab or you share with your friend, for example. That's the whole idea of PPE. It's a personal thing. So I recommend you buy and have it your own personally. Young Tong Yun, my name is not on the list. You should contact me. You should text me personally and inform me your new section. I'll reply you with your new group. All right. Caleb, section is full because I will crash my section. When the section is full, Caleb, you have to text me. I will have to check again whether I can still fit you guys with more room. All right. Amar Abdul Hafiz, Lab 3, the module is due at the end of 4 weeks. Yes, you have 4 weeks. First, second, third, 4 is your activity, your meeting with your lecturer. Okay, the end of the 4 week, basically the lecturer will tell you when is the due date. All right, depending on the experiment and case-to-case basis, some lecturers are giving more times. You can ask the lecturers, especially for the module lab, because module lab, the experiment is open-ended. We don't know at what level you will achieve your data collection, your result, your objective, your scope, and all that. Only the lecturers know. So if the lecturer is not happy with your result, he may be extending for a couple of days and all that. So for lab 3 module, the due date is basically defined by the lecturer. We have a standard recommended time or due date by the faculty, but again, the due date is still depending on the lecturer because we understand the nature of experiments are very much different, and the depth and the achievement of the objective is basically, I would say, quantified by the lecturer, and he basically or she will know whether to extend or to keep the due date as per recommended. Okay, Arafah, Jaman, update the list before our lab start. Basically, I will basically update the list periodically 2 or 3 days once until the 3rd week, basically. But of course, for the student, if you want to know your new lab, you really have your new section or your new group, you really have to contact me, to text me, and I will inform you your new section and group. Okay, okay, Arafat. Then okay, this is a safety pass thing. Of course, upon entering the lab, you need to make sure that you are able to show that you have the safety pass to the lab engineer. Okay, if you don't have the lab the safety pass without nothing, without any reason and all that, the lab staff basically are instructed to expel you out. Basically, you need the safety pass. All right. But in the case that you are going to sit for exam and all that, you can show the evidence that I don't have the safety pass yet because my exam is going to be tomorrow or day after tomorrow or next week. For that, the lab staff should be able to accept you lah, basically. All right. Amar Abdul Hafiz, do we have to attend all like 4 weeks for the module one time? Amar and everybody, lab 3, you have 4 weeks. You have date for each meeting. You have time, you have day. You have to attend meeting according to the time, to the schedule, to the date that has been mentioned. Okay. 4 weeks, 4 meetings. You have to be there. You have to be present. You have to put on your attendance, unless for module, because again, for module is open-ended lab. Okay, the whole lab session is controlled by the lecturer, unless the lecturer say, okay, this week we have no meeting. I'll see you next week. Then you have the exception, Amar. Okay, I hope everybody understand this. All right. So that is basically the end of the Q&A. If you have any problem, of course, you can always put it into the Telegram group, or you can text me personally. I will basically respond. I just have to warn you guys, maybe I'll take some time to respond, but you know, if I didn't respond in the Telegram, just go to the WhatsApp. I look into the WhatsApp more than I look into the Telegram group, actually. All right, so I think that's it, and that's all. If you have any, of course, any problem with the labs and all that, you can always text me, find me, and I'll try my very best to give you the solution. Okay, that's my mobile number, guys. You can WhatsApp me there. Okay. Okay, guys. I think that's all. This session is recorded. I will basically share the links with you guys any moment after this. Okay, thank you so much for putting your time. For the past couple of semesters, I find that this briefing is very important because students make a lot of mistakes throughout the semesters, and some of the mistakes I cannot help, I cannot basically handle. So you'll be losing marks. Some of you fail because of the submission issue and all that. So please pay attention to this briefing. I will share you the link video. If your friend couldn't make it today, please ask them to review this video, so that, you know, because this lab is only 1 credit and it's supposed to be easy. If you fail or if you get low marks, it's really troublesome. Actually, you're supposed to get A and without issue, actually, for the lab. All right. Okay, guys, thank you very much. That's all for today. Thank you. I'll see you around, guys. Assalamualaikum, and have a very good day ahead. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you,
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Okay, Doctor.